You know, when I first told you about Allie Hazelwood, I didn't know the context.
What do you mean?
I told you that she
Oh, I
said,
thought you meant like when you first told me about her
Oh, no.
as a writer, as an author, long ago.
yeah, she just wrote this beautiful love story where this man inhaled her. And then you were
Inhaled
like,
her.
that's all I got to say.
Yeah. It's too early in the episode, but we're talking about the love hypothesis.
Yes. So Allie Hazelwood is a very well-loved author. Like, even before this situation, there was like this trend going on in threads where everyone was like, hurry up, everyone, let's make a list of all the times Allie Hazelwood has been so nice to you. And so a lot of fans started talking about their good interactions with Allie Hazelwood.
Okay.
But then a lot of authors started to come forward like, oh yeah, she's done this. She's done... Everyone
super
loves
sweet.
her.
Okay.
Yes. And so recently there was an event where I don't know the context, but she made a joke about Peeta being a bad boyfriend or book boyfriend.
Didn't she call him useless?
Yes. And the world came for her. As one, Book Talk became, do you know Voltron? You know how they have their own robots, but then they all come to make one huge robot?
Yes, that was Book Talk.
That was Book Talk. They Voltroned and
you were also
her.
a part of the Voltron.
I didn't know anything. I want to say that. But if I was on the Voltron, I want to say me in this situation, I saw it happening, got my phone, and I was, ooh, I'm here.
So you were on the foot of the Voltron recording up.
So, because I had no idea what it was, but I thought it was pretty funny because people turn so quick.
It's kind of scary, honestly,
Yes.
how quickly people turn on you. And I don't want to be mean.
No, go ahead.
I don't want to be mean. So when you first told me about this, I thought it was kind of funny because it's like, oh,
It was kind of funny.
So brave to be like, you know what, Team Gail, which we actually, this is the conclusion of our Hunger Games marathon that we've been doing. So it's kind of weird timing.
Yeah. Which she didn't say Team Gail, but we joked about it. Like,
did she not say Team Gail?
No, so she just said that Peeta was useless, but both you and me were like, Gail apologist.
Okay, so she didn't say that. But what I saw afterwards, like the aftermath, were people like making videos saying like, aren't there bigger things to be worrying about, especially right now?
Yes.
And I completely agree. Like, I didn't see exactly what she said, but it doesn't really matter.
Because at the end of the day, this is a character from a book.
Yeah.
You know, it's her opinion on a book character, even though we all joke about it. And even though we're like, I would die for this character.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't die for Peeta. You would.
Let's hold on to that. No, but there's just so much more worse things that authors have done.
Have said.
Yes.
J.K. Rowling, for example.
Yes.
Like, this girl is still speaking. Mm-hmm. Spewing out hatred, I should say.
But no one says anything about that.
She's still making a bunch of money. So
Exactly. But I feel bad because apparently Allie Hazelwood deleted every single social media she had.
Oh my God. That's crazy to me. Like, how big was this bullying?
It was pretty big because when I opened the first post I saw about it, which was just a video of her saying this, everyone in the comments was coming for her.
Right.
Completely. And then it was funny to me because everyone in the comments was like, I knew I always had a weird feeling. And I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
In what point in Love Hypothesis when the inhalation was happening were you like, this looks like a Gail supporter?
I hate when people do that, by the way. Like, whenever someone gets canceled and then there's that person who's like, finally, I can come out.
Me and Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh, yeah, that was you and Ellen DeGeneres.
No, but I thoroughly didn't like her throughout the entirety.
But yeah.
No, but I do want to say that it makes me angry because now that the other side came out saying, like, really, we're bullying someone because of a character opinion. Now, for some reason, everyone who bullied her is like, yeah, why would you guys do that?
I can't believe you.
Why would you guys do that? me looking at the Voltron, clicking delete. Yeah, clicking delete on the videos I took. I'm just like, oh yeah.
No. I would.
And I don't want to make a joke about this because it actually is like so annoying how now that randomly we're doing our Hunger Games marathon.
I
right
know,
now.
so weird.
All of the clips we're posting are.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the video.
I have to go.
Is that her? No. Oh, this is the moderator.
We're going to have to talk about this offline because I know myself and I can't talk about myself on this panel and I will. I just said that if you bring up who killed their sister, I don't care.
Was that Allie?
No, right? Okay, guys, can we
Oh my god.
Okay. The craziest thing is that he keeps being like, why don't you love me? And she's like, all my family and friends are gonna die and I wanna run away. He's like, yeah, but like if Peeta comes, I'm not coming. He's a terrible, mean, selfish person.
I think Galia.
Peeta is useless.
Someone in the audience, they were laughing, and then all of a sudden,
Useless?
Allow for his woman to run away with him with her, like, sometimes baby side piece of life.
I have an air in my heart right now. What are you guys talking about?
I don't know who Megan Quinn is, but Slay.
One named Suzanne Collins. She was like, so yeah, we're gonna, that's, if you want to do hashtag cancel, Allie and Cheli.
she started it. Suddenly, this wasn't a joke.
Anyway, that's the life we want to see.
Okay, here are my thoughts. It's just crazy to me because I feel like it was such a joke. Like, they weren't being serious. The person who said cancel Allie Hazelwood in that panel, she doesn't actually mean that.
She didn't actually want to cancel her. I could tell. This feels like, oh, this is a safe space. I can tell everyone that I actually don't like this love interest.
And the way that they all reacted, I mean, that feels like a book club. That feels like people just hanging out.
Yeah.
But now that people are saying, like, I can't believe you're canceling Allie Hazelwood, and everyone's backtracking, it fell on the month where we were talking about Hunger Games. I feel like they watched. I feel like it's just coming up.
All of a sudden, people want to talk about Team Peeta, Team Gail.
So I just feel like because Sunrise of the Reaping just ended and like there's just this huge train of talking about the Hunger Games and we're doing the same thing. Anything we post that's Hunger Games related to Peeta, people have strong opinions all of a sudden.
It's like very sensitive about Peeta.
It's like,
which I understand. Yes, I agree. He is a child. But at the end of the day, like, we're not critiquing him being, like, a childlike.
Yes.
We're comparing, like, why is Katniss so independent, so, like, skilled? And Peeta was described to be skilled also.
Yes.
We just never witnessed it.
Because our criticism was very much like, I wish his abilities were shown more.
Yeah.
And people are like, you guys don't understand it. It's what she needed. And I'm like, shut up. Like, you obviously, like, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. And it sucks that Allie Hazelwood got the worst end of this.
Yeah.
Because she seems really, really nice.
She does. And
I love that Megan Quinn was like, what's going on?
I don't know who Nana Malone or Megan Quinn are.
Yeah.
But I love their what they added to the discourse.
Yes.
Like, they're both kind of just like, I mean, let's be for real here. What are we talking about?
And it seems kind of crazy. I just wanted to talk about this because it was interesting. I don't think this is like bookish news. Like, this shouldn't be something that ends Allie Hazelwood's career. That if it does,
I don't think it will.
I don't think it will either. I think she's just taking a break. But I hope that she never feels the need to talk about this. Like, because she shouldn't have to defend herself. You know what I mean?
But isn't it kind of like, I can see, like, if this were to happen to me, maybe this isn't the right way to handle it, but I could see later on being like, don't ask me about Hunger Games, LOL. You know what I mean?
Like a joke.
Yeah, like, I can't believe that happened. That was crazy, guys.
No, I can see you doing that. I can't see Ellie Hazelwood doing that. You know?
Yeah, why? Because
She needs to, yeah.
She seems
She's
more
in her room.
intelligent than
She's
me.
in her no. She's in her room and she has a picture of Peeta Malark as Josh as Peeta, and just her dartboard.
Oh my god.
No one will ever understand.
I wish I could see the whole panel though. Like what started
I'm
this
pretty sure
conversation.
it's out there.
Probably, but at the end of the day, everyone, please leave Allie Hazelwood alone. There are more serious things happening in the world, which, I mean, the book that we're discussing today, weirdly,
aligns with a lot of what's happening in the world. So I feel like there will be several overlap moments.
yeah, which we will be discussing as we discuss the book. But before we get started, spoilers ahead. And we are only going to be talking about the book. If you want to hear our thoughts on the movie, join us on Thursday.
Yes. Oh my gosh, how exciting. Do you think it's the end of the season, the end of the Hunger Games
This
season?
is the book of the month.
This is the book of the month.
Join our book clubs on Fable and on Goodreads.
And
you can find us under the Book Fix Pod.
And you can find the links to those book clubs on our link tree, linktr.ee/thebookfix. Do you think visiting the Hunger Games one last time in novel form, visiting this
Oh
world,
my god.
can fix your life?
You saying that is making me sad. Yes, I think.
I am your host, Cheli. Oh,
Welcome to the Book Fix Podcast, a podcast where we fix
fix
lives one book at a time. I'm your host, Yajaira.
And I'm your host, Cheli. I'm sorry, we film in bulk. I feel like I haven't seen you in a bit.
I know.
So
It's been a minute. But let's get started. So if this is the first time you are joining us in the Hunger Games discourse, this is going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I had wanted to do this one first. Because I
Yes.
thought it made sense. Like, okay, we could see how Snow started and then we can see how he ends up. But I'm really glad that we did it the way that Suzanne intended.
Yes, except we did read Sunrise of the Reaping before our Hunger Games started. But I kind of liked that because I liked seeing Snow in Sunrise of the Reaping at his worst, because it felt like that was his worst.
Yeah.
And then seeing him in the background of the first two books about the horrible things he is capable of doing, and then the third one, obviously.
Yeah.
Just him being crazy. So
Just
we
kooky.
start off with a young Snow.
God. Let me just say, before starting this book, I had no idea what to expect. I seriously thought that, oh, Snow was in the Hunger Games? Like, I had no idea that he was going to be.
for him.
I know. He survived, I guess. I don't know. I had no idea. So when we go into the first part of the book, which is the mentor,
Yes.
we see that he is doing so well in his school, in his studies, that he's going to be able to mentor one of the tributes of the Hunger Games.
Yes.
And this is really important for him because Snow's broke.
Yes.
Snow's family's fortune was tied to District 13. And when District 13 was bombed, he lost all of the fortune.
But they are playing it off as they do have money.
Yeah, they're just pretending.
Mostly the grandma. She's like, no, we have all our money in different pools and different pies.
Yeah.
And he's over here living off of cabbage soup,
Oh, dude.
which is crazy.
Cabbage soup, potatoes, and lentils?
Yes.
I think-
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
In the book, it's him living with his grandma, but also his cousin Tigris. Was Tigris the same person in the third book that took in Katniss when
Yes. Yes, Tigris. Oh, dude,
That's
it's
so
it's so crazy to me because this book really touches on that topic of nature versus nurture because
Yeah.
both Snow and Tigris were raised the exact same way.
Yes.
They had to survive the same way. If it wasn't for Tigris, Snow wouldn't even have meals. The grandma didn't know how to cook. So Tigris had to learn at a young age how to feed her family, the three of them.
I will say Tigris was really good at bringing Snow back into like humanity.
Oh, yeah.
And we see it more in the movie, but in the book specifically, like she would make sure he was fed, make sure that he looked good,
presentable.
but also reminded him several times, like, remember, Lucy Gray is human. Like,
Yeah.
So there was like a lot of that I appreciated.
And also the moment where she told him, like, don't judge her for having to make decisions that you wouldn't understand.
Yes. And it made me so sad too that Tigris kind of sympathized with that or empathized. And Snow was like, what are you even talking about? It's like, you don't know. You don't
Dude.
know.
Being in Snow's head.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, free me from this hell. Oh my God. Sucks.
I will say though that it made me sad that Tigris is his cousin, because I do remember in the third book there's a scene where Tigris is talking to Katniss and her connection to Snow, and Tigris does answer like, I was by Snow's side until he didn't need me anymore. And it makes me sad because Tigris and Snow in this book seem extremely close.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad that they had reached a point in the future where I feel like that was his last shred of humanity.
Was
that
Tigris. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I really love her character. And it's just so sad that whatever happened between them is such a mystery. But we can just like assume obviously the worst.
Yep.
Because she ended up on the side of the rebellion. So, yeah. Starting off,
like you said, they are told, Snow and like, it should be 23 others, are told that as the highest performing students, and because no one is watching the Hunger Games, I think this is only like the third or fourth year.
it's the 10th.
10th year that it's been going on. They're at a point where they just don't want to do it anymore because it's not really getting much recognition.
It's not getting any views, and so Dr. Gaul, who is the game maker, she's kind of like trying to pick at everyone's brain, like, how can we get more people to watch?
Yeah.
And then of course everyone's like, no one wants to watch kids get slaughtered. Like,
And it's mostly Sejanus who says this.
yes.
So in the book, one of the kids that's like a classmate who no one really likes.
Yeah, no one really likes him, but especially Snow. Anytime Sejanus would speak, Snow would roll his eyes like,
yes. But Sejanus was very big on like, this is inhumane. But I will say in the book, he doesn't really say much at the beginning. It's just kind of like, you can tell that he's not really a fan of this. It isn't until they're figuring out who their tributes are where Sejanus gets this tribute, Marcus, from the second district. And Sejanus used to live in the second district.
yeah,
The only
his
reason
family came from them.
The only reason their capital is because the dad is rich. Like he's a militant guy.
Yeah.
So
he comes from a wealthy family, so I think that's another reason why Snow really resents him.
Yes. And so when you see Sejanus get Marcus, Snow's like, oh, you're so lucky. Like
You got a guy.
You got the best of the litter. And then Sejanus answers, you tend to forget that I'm part of that litter. And it's funny because when I read that, I was like, whoa. And I'm pretty sure Snow's head was like, what an idiot. Oh, he just doesn't get it.
He's just
This is why Snow always lands on top. I hated that quote.
Me
I
too.
hated
Me
it.
too. Me too. Me too.
Oh my gosh.
And it definitely like came up so many times. I was like, I get it. You land on top.
But it's so egotistical. Like, can you imagine? I'm about to dox myself. No, can you imagine if my last name, let's say, was Winter? And I was just like, no one knows, but Winter
He's coming.
Winter always comes. You know what I mean? And it's like, shut up. Like, it's not about you.
But I felt like in the beginning it was kind of like a cute thing because it was just between him and Tigris, his cousin. But then it started becoming more real. Like, he's like, no, Snow really does always land on top. He does.
Thank you. Thank you.
What did you think about his name?
Coriolanus. It's like, that is not how you pronounce it. This is like when I teach planets and I'm like, it's Uranus. So I had like I had a kid moment where I was like, no, it's Coriolanus.
Coriolanus.
But I thought Corio was really cute.
Corio was cute, I guess.
Yeah. Isn't it kind of cute that Coriolanus and Sejanus,
dude,
they share?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a friend thing.
I was gonna make a TikTok, basically talking about how, wait, Suzanne, did you mean to name him Coriolanus because of how he is? But what about Sejanus? He's a great guy, actually.
That's so funny. Me not listening to the audiobook, I did listen to it, I think after I was like halfway through the second part, but I did not know how to say these names, and I felt
neither.
like when I was looking at the words, I was taking like mental damage. I was like, I don't know how to say this. I'm not going to remember any of these names.
Yeah, that's how I felt too.
So, okay, they get their tributes, and Corio is like, okay, how do I land on top? How do I get ahead of all these bitches? So he and Tigris basically talk, and she's like, maybe you should meet her at the trains.
Well, first, let's talk about Lucy Gray before we do that. So, Lucy Gray is from District 12, and she was the only one that they really paid attention to when they were like saying like, you get this person, and Snow really did not want District 12 because they never win.
Yep.
The ones who win most of the time are from District 1 and 2. And so they're watching the screen, and Lucy Gray's name gets called.
Lucy Gray Baird.
Yeah. And so then she's like walking up to the stage, and then all of a sudden she puts a snake in a girl's dress.
Yes.
And I guess it was the daughter of the mayor of District 12. And so then the mayor slaps Lucy. It was like this whole drama. And then...
But then Lucy's like... well, it's because someone in the audience sings.
Well, someone in the audience sings first. Yes. And then she's like, okay,
this
guys...
reminds me of a little ditty.
Actually, guys... I love it. I love the choir.
They never said I couldn't sing.
You love singing that.
And Lucy just went off on them.
Yeah.
And it's funny because... before this, all of the mentors, so like all of Corio's class, were told you just need to make your person. It doesn't even matter if they win. They just need to be well received.
Yeah.
Because the more people we get invested in the Hunger Games, the more people will watch.
Yeah.
And he's watching this and smiling, and he's like, oh, yeah. Oh, Snow always lands on top.
Snow really does always land on top. That's crazy. It's like I picked her out myself. And so, like you said, then Tigris is the one who has to advise him to, maybe you should go meet her. I mean, at the end of the day, she's just a girl. She's scared. No one's ever shown up for her, so show up for her. And you know what? You should take her something beautiful.
And
a little token.
Grandmam has a rose garden on the top of the terrace where they live. And so he takes a rose to the train station.
Well, I thought it was so funny how like he had to wait hours. He was at the train station for hours. Did he not have class or something? It's girlfriend?
Fine. It's fine.
A boyfriend?
Don't even. Snow has no empathy.
Snow has no love to give.
And it's, oh my God. And that's what I want to talk about later. But Corio's waiting at...
Snow. Corio's like a loving nickname.
So Coriolanus is waiting at the train station. And it's so sad because what we know from the Hunger Games is that when they get off the train, they're already like well-bathed, well-fed, better than where they started at the district. But this is back then, and that wasn't something that they really practiced. Yeah. So this train, the door was really high up, and the tributes are just literally being pushed off of the train. And you see Jessup, which is the male tribute from District 12. I think he gets out first, and he lifts his hands in order to catch Lucy Gray from coming down. And I just thought that was really sweet because we don't talk about Jessup often.
What do you mean? We just started.
like no one talks about him. No one talks about him. I was talking with my cousin, with Nye, about this, and she was like telling me about how much she loves Sejanus. We were talking about Snow, and I was like, and Jessup? And she's like, who's Jessup?
Oh my
who's Jessup?
God. I think because his moments were very few and...
No, they were impactful. I really like him because he's just... No one was meant to be here, but for me, he was just like a working boy.
Yeah.
But Lucy Gray comes down. And then what happens?
Well, then Snow goes up to her and gives her a flower. And he's like, I'm your mentor. And she's just like, what's my mentor going to do for me besides bringing me roses? And then she eats it. She eats the rose.
She eats one
She's
petal.
like, it reminds me of bath time.
It reminds me of bedtime because her mom used to bathe her in buttermilk and roses.
Yeah. And then she spits it out at him.
No, she says later, but this rose from the beginning was her only sustenance for like days.
Yeah.
She's just been munching on this rose.
It's sad.
It is really sad.
But so after this, she kind of just like leaves Snow and is like, well, good luck with trying to help me out. Gorgeous. Bye.
Yeah.
And then they get rounded off. And then Snow's like, wait, can I go with her? I want to actually walk her to the zoo. I want to see where she's at.
And in this one, the district peacemaker was like, or the capital peacemaker was like, yeah, just jump in. I don't care. And they let him in there. And then they just dump him in this human zoo, which is just like a huge area with like bars around.
But the way that they dump him is like, aren't you afraid that you're going to injure your entertainment? Like they get dumped like down. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they do. But they are just straight up treating them like animals.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I think one of the kids in the Hunger Games in this one is literally like the youngest possible age you can be, which I think is 12.
Yeah.
It makes me so sad because they get dumped. And of course, like Snow, he's like, oh my God. He doesn't land on top. He's like, what's happening?
He's like at the bottom.
But he stands up and he realizes that there's like a live filming happening of when the district tributes are being dumped. And he freezes. And he's like, oh my gosh. This isn't my good side.
They're watching me.
I have a stain on my shirt. Like, and so then Lucy Gray goes up to him and is like, own it. Hey, slay. And then he vogues. Own it. And she's like, he says like, okay, you're right. Lucy Gray Baird, is it okay if I walk you around and introduce you to my friends? And he goes over and she's specifically only talking to the children.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting that she did that. Was it just to make herself seem more like, wow, she's so good with kids. I hope she wins.
No, I think she was probably thinking like, what am I gonna tell these bitches? So instead, she's just like, oh, look, there's children. You know, I think she's just like, she doesn't really seem like someone who wants to impress the Capitol.
No.
Also, did you notice that the Capitol was so boring? Like the way that they dressed. I think Lucy, she changed the Capitol.
Colors.
After that, color came in.
It was very dull compared to like the other ones.
Yeah. We bring that up because she had a really colorful dress on.
I want to speed through this. Okay, so throughout these meetings, because Snow ends up coming back often. And the second time he comes back is with Sejanus. Because
no. Sejanus was already there.
Oh,
remember Snow gets so mad. He's just like, why is this bitch trying to steal my thunder?
Always in my area. He's obsessed
with me. But before that, I think we should mention Dean Highbottom.
Okay.
Dean Highbottom was basically like someone who was kind of mean to Snow. I thought it was so funny. So hilarious that Snow was eating. He was like eating an apple pie.
Yeah.
And then the dean's like, oh, I see. You seem to really enjoy pie. Is it because you're broke? Oh, nobody else knows? Oh, but I know. Oh my
How
God.
dare you? No, he was gonna eat an apple pie. He got a really big slice and then he told him off and then he was like, I didn't even want it. Anyway. Oh,
that was hilarious.
That's
But Dean Highbottom has this like animosity towards him. And so Snow thinks that it's because he had started a rumor about him. So he thinks it's connected to that.
But we know by this point that
Hold on. So then when Snow had snuck into the zoo, he gave him a demerit. He was like, don't ever do anything like that again. 3, you're out.
Yep. And Snow is very big on like he has a perfect record because he really needs There's this thing that the school is doing. We kind of talked about it. That when they finish, and if they finish on top, they get something called the Plinth Award, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And because his family is losing money, he really needs this.
And especially because they are introducing a tax on the capital, which Sejanus just kind of like brings it up like, yeah, we're going to be taxed now.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
It sucks. He's like wiping his eyes
With
like,
money. And so now Snow is like more desperate. He's like, I really need to win as the best mentor.
Yes. So he goes, and Sejanus is already there, and he has like a bunch of sandwiches, and he's trying to show everyone like, well, he's not even trying to show everyone. He's just like, they're humans. They should eat. Who knows how long it's been since they've eaten. And he's like calling over Marcus, and Marcus isn't coming.
Marcus is his tribute.
And we figure out here that Marcus was once Sejanus's classmate. And even though they don't know each other that well, they do know each other. So it's just kind of, it's sad.
Because Sejanus had mentioned that if he were to ever go back to District 2, everyone would hate him because he got out.
So Corio takes a sandwich and sits, and Lucy and him have like food together. And then Lucy's the one who's kind of calling all the people from the districts and like, here, it's food. Like, you should come eat. And then that's when they all start running forward, asking for food. And then Lucy takes that moment to like, I don't remember, but it's basically like now Capital is willing to feed the district tributes, but they treat it more like an animal zoo. So they'll be like throwing up an apple or something, whatever. But what I wanted to bring up, I knew this was going to be a love story. I've known this since this has been out. I've known this. And I was trying to pinpoint when things started to seem romantic, and it never did for me. And I don't know if it did for you, because it felt always like anytime Lucy would say something, Snow had this like, he had this moment where he would just like feel super infatuated with her, but it felt just like that. And he's one who tends to just love power. So I think he was like, because he knew that she was manipulating like how the people viewed her. Like, he knew that she was capable of that. She was able to, like, move people.
With her voice, yeah.
Yes. And I think that's what he liked.
I don't think she meant to be manipulative, though. What I think that... Okay, I don't know if Snow really did love her. But I think that he admired her, at least, because she was someone who was very courageous and did not care what people thought about her.
Yes.
And Snow is a coward through and through. Like... especially at the end. So I think he just really admired her to the point, you know, when you're just like so infatuated by someone, you don't know if you want to be with them or be them.
Yes.
I think that was,
I
think that was Snow with Lucy.
Yeah.
But this moment when they're eating the sandwiches together, they do kind of have like a moment of connection, because she hands him part of the sandwich and it's like, here, you eat too. And his stomach's all growling. He's like, okay, I guess I'll have a bite.
I remember this one time I was so hungry, I ate paste, and it was pasty. And she just laughs.
Well, he brings that up because she asks, wait, I thought there was like endless food
At the Capitol.
And he says, no, there isn't. So,
And it's so crazy because he says it, and then he thinks like, why did I say that?
yeah, he like regrets letting her in.
Yeah. So they are getting closer. When this whole thing happens with the sandwiches, all of the other mentors are like, oh, you guys are getting you're getting views, and people are most likely going to see their tributes.
Yeah, people are going to be noticing their own tributes, except Marcus, because Marcus is not really entertaining Sejanus.
Yeah.
But after this, in class, Dr. Gaul is kind of asking them about like, oh, what do you guys think about the Hunger Games? Why do you think we have the Hunger Games, right? And I think this was the first time that Sejanus kind of brings up like, they're human. Like, I don't understand why we're all just allowing this to happen.
Yep.
And then Snow says, you know what? I think we should start betting on them. Hear me out. People would care more if, we bet on these humans.
Yes.
So I thought that was interesting because Sejanus and Snow are kind of friends. At least to Sejanus, they're friends. Snow hates him, but I thought Sejanus would have been like, "What the fuck? Why did you say
I
that?"
feel like Sejanus is very interesting because he has so many opinions, but he's also really afraid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's the only one.
Yep. So I don't blame him. But
Yeah.
I feel like because Corio has always been the one who has like been consistently there, not even on his side, but just consistently there.
Yeah. He's
and
always getting
listening.
him out of trouble.
Yes. I think there's just like a bond
Yeah. A little.
that they both, they don't see it, but they feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
Our names end the same. It has to be destiny.
We're basically brothers. Yeah.
So I do want to bring up, they are asked about that. He brings up the bedding, and that's when Dr. Gaul is like, can you write up a piece about that? And then there's like another classmate. I think her name is Clemmy.
Clemensia.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, we always work together. Like we could.
Well, in the book, I think it was supposed to be like a class thing.
Oh, you're right. Because it was a group project.
It was a different in the movie, but I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be like a class.
Everyone had their own thing.
Yeah.
Because she leaves and then they all kind of
but
will meet up and work.
But they do later on bring up like Snow, Clemensia, and Arachne. They were supposed to make the paper together.
But oops, Arachne.
Doesn't make it.
She doesn't make it because while they're at the zoo and they're
Feeding
trying
their
to
tributes.
feed, the tribute kills her. I don't remember how it happens in the book.
Because Arachne is taunting her with food. And then it doesn't, I don't think it's explicit in the book. Then all of a sudden Arachne's just holding her throat because she cut her. And I just love this. I don't want to bring up the movie too much, but it's so different. Because in the book, Snow, again, coward, he like backs up and he's just like, oh my gosh, ew. And then, ew, guys, I'm not good with blood, guys. I'm really not.
Okay, I'm out of here.
And then Lucy has to be the one to snap him out of it and tell him, like, go help her. Mm-hmm. So, of course, the cameras are picking up this heroic moment of him jumping to Arachne, trying to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
And he's like, damn, I hope no one notices how much I'm trembling.
He's like crying and they think it's for her. It's like, no, they caught my bad side.
I know.
They get my good side. The Snow side. Whatever. So she passes and then it's him and Clemensia working on this thing, but they never work on it.
No.
Right?
So literally the next day, he shows up with this project already written, and Clemencia's crying still, and she's just like, no, like, I can't believe she would even expect us to like show up with it after what happened. But hey, let's just pretend like we still wrote it together. And so he agrees. He tries to like give her a debrief on what he wrote, and then they go to Dr. Gaul's office.
Yes, in which is it the same where the paper is in the bin?
So Dr. Gaul is very kooky. She has a whole bunch of like colorful snakes. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, oh, okay, so you both touched the project? Yes. Okay, well then can you grab it? It's like in there with my snakes.
And like they remember scents through like your scent and your sweat. Like if you touch the paper, you should be fine. So Clemensia, why don't you
So Snow did it first.
Oh.
Snow reached in, and I this is the part that I was really confused because the snakes didn't react to him because they recognized his scent. But then when Clemensia reaches in, they bite her. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy. Like she was poisoned.
Mm-hmm. And Clemensia is often brought up throughout this book where it's like she's at the hospital, no one's visiting her. There's a point where Snow is in the hospital, which we'll talk about later. But she's just like, why isn't anyone coming to see me? It's like, what are you talking about? We literally like can't.
Yeah, because she's like in quarantine.
Yes. And she's like even developing scales.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. One thing I do want to bring up before we move on, I really like the consistency of Snow always spiraling. Like whenever something went wrong, he would just like, what if it happens to me? Oh my gosh, and then this is going to happen, and then my family's going to go through this, and then Snow doesn't land on top. And he's like He always tends to freak out, and it's brought up at the beginning. Like, it feels more like a defense mechanism that he does this.
Like he always fixates on one thing.
So I just thought it was something I should bring up because it comes up a lot in the book. So the games.
So then they take the tributes. I don't think there's anything big before that.
Before the games?
No, not the games. The games. They like walk the tributes and the mentors to see the arena.
Mm-hmm. And they have interviews there. And through these interviews, we just learned that Lucy Gray is part of the Covey, which is not specifically District 12, but the Capitol did kind of...
That was from the first time she was on camera. Because I remember her being like, kind of like sassy. Like, yeah, if you want to call us from District 12, but we're not from District 12. We just kind of like...
But I think... I might be wrong, but isn't this the part...
I don't think there was interviews. Because they literally were talking... And I think they were having a romantic moment together. That's the way they were about to kiss, girl. Yes.
So it's not interview, but I do know that everyone was with their person.
Their mentor and their tribute.
And no one was talking. So it really just felt like they were the only ones that were connecting. Mm-hmm. And yes, it did feel really romantic. But like, I don't think Snow felt it. I don't think Snow was feeling it. I think he was feeling the moment. But I don't even think he's the first one to bring up liking her. I don't know.
We can talk about that a little more later. Okay. But then explosions go off in the arena.
Yeah, I forgot about this.
And then it's kind of crazy because Lucy could have ran. Lucy could have escaped. But fucking Snow is over here screaming, help!
Help me! It's like a scab, like a little scream.
I know.
I'm not going to make it! Lucy! That's so embarrassing.
This is really sad because I think Snow doesn't really show that level of desperation. You know what I mean? Not really, anyway.
I've never seen this man grovel.
Not like this, anyway. So then Lucy hears him crying and she helps him. I was thinking like, damn, Lucy, if only you knew. If only you knew.
It could. You're right. Butterfly effect. Mm-hmm. This could have changed everything.
This could have changed the world.
And it sucks because she literally like lifts the thing off of him and completely burns her hands. Mm-hmm. And it's so sad. But Snow is taken by a medic, mm-hmm. and then is nursed back to health, whatever.
And he wakes up and he immediately asks about Lucy.
Yeah.
He's like, is Lucy okay? And Tigris calms him down and says, yes, she's fine. She's fine. For now.
And so the next time they meet, that's when they're supposed to prep for the interviews. Mm-hmm. And he convinces her to sing, gets her a guitar through someone, convinces her to sing because it's like, this is how people listen to you. They're going to be able to give you things in the, inside the games. And there was a turning point somewhere within there where Lucy was like, you need to stop looking at me as someone who's successful now and more like someone who can actually win this. So that's when it becomes a little more serious.
That was after she saved his life and he was so grateful to her. Yeah. Because he even recognized like she could have left me. Yeah. And, people died and Marcus is the only one who has escaped.
Yes.
At this point. And so he's just like telling her like, I'm so grateful to you. And she's like, well, if you're so grateful to me, the way you can make it up to me is to believe that I can actually win this.
There was a point, I think we skipped it already, but there is a point where she's talking about the games and the way that Snow answers is like, oh, Lucy Gray, I'm so sorry. Do you feel like he was actually sorry?
Because she was going to die? Oh, he thought she was going to die?
I felt like it was one of those things where like something is so sad, but one person doesn't care. But like, what else do you respond?
I think that before she saved his life, he was very like cold towards her. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like after she saved him, he kind of felt like she was on a pedestal for him. For now.
Okay. So she sings the song and immediately Snow is like,
this song's about another man.
What is she embarrassing me? she's technically, I own her. That's my Lucy Gray. We should sing about another guy.
That's interesting that you word it that way though, because when she was singing the Ballad of Lucy Gray, the way that chapter ends is, yeah, everyone's connecting with her, people are crying, but for some reason, like, I feel jealousy. So I took it as like, oh, he feels jealous because people are connecting to her and no one sees him.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like this man, it's like a typical man who is jealous of a woman's successes.
Oh my God. Thank you for saying that. It literally made me so angry because, like I said, I don't think he ever liked her. I think he just wanted, because people liked her and because she had this power to like sway crowds, if he owned her, then through extension, he's good.
Yeah.
That's really what it felt like.
But after that, people start going up to him and saying, "You're Lucy Gray. Your Lucy Gray is so talented. She's this, and that, and the third."
Thank you.
And then he started to feel, but don't you remember that he still felt like, I still feel anger though, or jealousy, whatever it was. So that wasn't even good enough to like sway his emotions until she went up to him and they finally talked. And he was like, "Why didn't you sing the other one?" It's like, oh,
I really like that one.
I don't like that one, but whatever.
I don't know. I just don't think women can be friends with guys.
I just don't think that you should be thinking about your ex when I'm right here, babe.
Hate it.
Toxic. Okay.
So before they go to the games, he gives her, well, okay, they meet up one last time. And he's very much like, okay, this is how it looks like. You know, I recommend stay underground and try to wait it out. Like, obviously, look at you. You can't even lift a toothpick.
Oh my God.
So like your strongest thing is going to be hiding. And she's just like, okay.
Well, also because there are so many tributes that have already passed away at this point, and Marcus is missing. And so when they're having the conversation, she's like, "Oh, well, I feel like I could just wait out then because there's not that many people. I could just win by default at this point."
And so it's brought up a lot, this zoo. There's a lot of rat poison like around the zoo.
Yeah.
And he gives her a gift, which is her token, and it's a little makeup thing, but the powder in it has been replaced.
It's like a compact mirror.
So she now has this. And I don't remember if this was directly before the games. I feel like it was.
Yeah.
Because all the other mentors are with their people.
Yeah, and so she's crying because it's like hitting her, like, though this is probably my last night alive. And then they have a first kiss. Doesn't she kiss him? Yeah, huh?
And
thoughts?
Sejanus just, oh my.
I know.
The bracelet he was making, he drops it to the floor, all the beads, and it smells
scatter.
Coriolanus Snow.
I thought it was you and me.
What is this?
That's sad.
I thought it was interesting because afterwards, I think Sejanus has a moment where he's like, that was a lot. Like, what was that? And it's like, you know, Snow's always on top. I don't know. Oh my God. That's crazy.
But doesn't he like make promises to her? Like, you're not going to die, Lucy. Not on my watch,
And
Lucy.
you know what? We'll see each other out there. We'll see each other. Don't worry.
Whoa. The promise came true. That's crazy.
But, we didn't say there was this one conversation that they have really early on where you can tell Lucy's already starting to like him. And she says, I wish we would have met under different circumstances. And he was like, yeah, I would have seen you singing. And she brings up, yeah, and we would have drank and danced together. Yeah, it would have been nice. And I just think that's interesting.
Do you?
Yeah, I just think it's interesting.
Oh, what's so interesting about it?
Because I hate Snow.
I'm kind of conflicted about whether or not he actually liked her. But I think that's a conversation for once we get to the end.
Okay. So the games happen.
Yes.
Do we have to talk much about it?
I do think it's important for us to bring up that Marcus was strung up in the middle of the games. No, actually, in the book, he was on the ground, I think.
I just know,
I'm
I think
confused
he
now.
was at his spot, but he was just brought there and he was not doing good. He was still alive. And as soon as the game started, he was immediately killed. And it was just kind of a joke, like, because Sejanus still had to come,
Yeah.
you know, watch this happen. And then they're like, okay, bye, Sejanus.
Kisses. Bye.
That's
So,
crazy.
Sejanus is moved, or he's angered by this. So, next thing you know, he's in the games. He just shows up.
And he's putting breadcrumbs on Marcus because that's something District 2 would do. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Gaul is like, Snow, your best friend, boyfriend, I don't know what he is. He is in there.
You need to get him out.
You need to get him out. So I'm going to,
Cut the cameras.
for an hour, you're going to grab him and take him out. And he's like, why don't you just send like a peacemaker? And it's like, no, you two have this bond that I've never seen before.
He's gonna listen to you.
He's gonna listen to you. Snow goes in there. Sejanus grabs his face. It's me. It's me. It's Corio.
Yeah. So while they're trying to escape,
Yeah.
Snow ends up killing one of the tributes.
Yes.
And he enjoyed that feeling.
Did it say that in the book? That he was like, oh, wait. Oh, wait.
I don't think it actually said it in the book, but I feel like he was kind of just like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh, well. That's all that.
It didn't cause him trauma.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Didn't lose any sleep over that.
Yeah.
So then they leave, and then...
Oh, but Sejanus and him have a good conversation in there where while Corio's trying to convince him to leave, he's like, Sejanus, if you care so much about doing the right thing, you need to get out of here and make change out there. Mm-hmm. Not saying I agree with you, but that's what you need to do.
Because he does tell him the cameras are not on right now. Nobody is seeing you do this.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, so they get out. You're right. He does kill Bobbin, which is one of the tributes. Yeah. So then when the cameras come back on the next day, they're just like, oh yeah, Bobbin died. Anyway. And so then the mentor...
crazy.
The mentor's like, what the heck? That's foul play. The cameras are there. Why don't they just show us what happened?
No, there wasn't a camera right there in that specific area.
Yeah, which we labeled the Bobbin zone. There was no cameras.
Yeah.
So then that mentor leaves really angry. Whatever, the games continue. Two people, I think it's Reaper and someone else, die of the rat poison. Mm-hmm. And that's when people are starting to notice, like, this is weird.
Yeah,
like,
why are they
they're
dying
just
like
dropping
that?
like flies.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Cut to the end, like the very end. There's like a point where the snakes are dropped in. Mm-hmm. And
the colorful snakes that we mentioned before.
The thing is, Snow really, really wanted Lucy Gray to win. He really wanted to win. Mm-hmm. And so he, beforehand, goes to visit the snakes one more time. And the handkerchief that Lucy Gray had once used, he threw it in there.
He dropped it in, yeah.
So
But the reason that he did it was because Dr. Gaul had mentioned something to them of like, you know what? None of them are going to make it. You know, like, I don't even care.
Yes. So then near the end of the game, you hear Lucy Gray singing. And when she comes, it's described that she has like a dress of snakes. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, how the heck is that happening? And I think even Dr. Gaul is like, I didn't design them like that. Like, I don't know. And so then, oh my God, what happened?
Well, Lucy wins. The snakes killed everybody else.
Oh no, I think it's funny because Snow was like, no, yeah, they just really like her.
They just really like the singing.
Yeah. He gets jealous of the snakes.
Do they even have ears, bitch? Come on.
She wins. And immediately Snow is taken to like a room. And he's like, oh my God, they're going to give me my prize. They're going to give it to me in coins. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. Snow's always on top. And so he goes, and I think he meets up with Highbottom.
Dean Highbottom, yeah.
And they have like evidence.
A tussle.
Yes, and they have evidence that Snow helped Lucy cheat. And so then they're like, pack up your bags. You're going to become a peacemaker. And it's going to be the best 20 years of your life.
He was supposed to go to District
8?
3? Oh, 8? Yeah, 8. And somehow he was like, no, take me to 12. And they listened to him. Like,
Yes.
okay, cool.
And so he goes home and cries about it like a baby. And Tigris and the grandmom are like, okay, you're going to be good. Like, you'll be back in no time. Because they don't know how long he's supposed to stay. I don't know where the number 20 comes from, but he's convinced he's going to be there for a very long time. And so he goes to District 12. They shave his beautiful locks. Because he had long hair in the book.
I don't think they did in the book.
They didn't?
I don't think they did, because there was a part at the end where I remember Dr. Gaul being like, and your beautiful blonde curls.
Okay. Weird. But
Maybe they did and I missed it. But
okay, but he is now a peacemaker. And it's not as bad, but it's not as good. Like, he's literally not enjoying it because the people in his cabin, he like calls them dumb. It isn't until, the door opens and a bright light and just illuminating probably the most perfect person in his eyes.
the most perfect man to ever exist.
Sejanus. And he's just like, the two reunite once more. He remade the choreo bracelet. He's holding it.
I know.
And he's just like,
He explains to
I
him.
hate you.
He explains to him that he wanted to be with him through this journey.
And it's funny because Corio has a moment where he just starts laughing. And he's like, my brother, my bestie, my ride or die. It's always been you.
He's such a
They
bitch.
embrace, and Sejanus is like, finally. Sejanus basically says, like, since that whole thing that he tried with the arena, he is also kind of banished.
Yeah.
But he was like, but if it makes you feel any better, I did ask them to send your graduation, your diploma. And Snow just has a moment like, yeah, that actually does really matter to me. This man's about to be the most important man in my life.
I don't remember it being like that, but
Welcome, Sejanus. Our bunkmates suck, which is kind of beautiful. Okay, whatever. So they now live together, and they have a day off, and that's when they go to, like, the district to kind of chill. And they end up in, like, this... I feel like it's...
like a pub.
Yeah, that's a good way to explain it. And that's where he sees...
He hears
He hears...
the most beautiful voice ever.
And then when Sejanus stops talking,
Shut
he
up!
hears Lucy
You're
Gray.
you're gonna confuse the people, okay?
Sorry. So he does hear Lucy Gray singing again. And he's like, oh my God, she's alive. This is amazing. And they make eye contact. And that's when he knows, like, oh, she's into me. She's like, oh, she loves this Snow.
Yeah, Snowland's on top. Yes, we know.
Whatever. When they finally do meet again, like face to face, she basically reveals that she thought she was going to die because she was questioned heavily on, like, the compact mirror that she had.
Yeah.
And she totally made it seem like Snow had nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
And then
Like she took it from him, right?
it was Dean Highbottom. Yes. But it was Dean Highbottom who was like, take her back to District 12. And then he personally gave her money.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So was he not a bad guy? I'm confused.
No, he was chill.
He was misunderstood, I guess.
You can be a good person and hate Snow. That was Dean Highbottom.
Wait, what?
He was a good person. He just seemed evil because he hated Snow.
Yeah,
He didn't like that Snow landed on top.
he didn't.
Didn't like
He had
it.
beef with that.
Yeah, so that happens. It is confusing. We're not really sure why he did that at this point. Whatever. Their relationship blossoms. Good for them.
Good for them. So happy for them. Skipping forward. Sejanus starts acting a little suspicious.
Yeah. No longer around Corio's side making him bracelets. He is talking to the locals, specifically Billy Taupe, which is Lucy Gray's ex. But they seem to always just be chatting in the sides.
Yeah, secretive.
And Corio's like, oh my gosh, he's a rebel sympathizer. That's what's happening. So one day when they're working with jabberjays, which in the other books, those have been like the birds that can record conversation.
Yeah.
He records and basically makes Sejanus confess, right? Or does he just whisper it in the book? Like, does he just say like, Sejanus is not good? Go.
I do remember them bringing up the jabberjays, but I remember Dr. Gaul saying, "Oh, I got your letter."
I think that's what she meant.
I thought it could have been the jabberjays. I don't remember this exact moment, but basically Snow confronts him and is like, "Why are you working with the rebels?"
Yeah.
And Sejanus explains like, hey, that life could be more than what this hell we're living.
And also, they really just want to visit the person that they imprisoned. They're not doing anything bad. They just really want to visit this person. Because that was all that he was doing in the book.
Yeah.
There was one thing I wanted to bring up. Hold on. Oh, it was the first time that Sejanus and Corio as peacemakers are going to a hanging. And the mockingjays are there.
Yeah.
And so when someone is hung, they tend to repeat the sounds that the person makes after they get hung.
Yeah.
And a long time ago, Lucy Gray had brought up, oh yeah, that's the Capitol song. Because it's like what the Capitol is causing to happen. And I thought it was really interesting how much Snow hated these mockingjays. Like, he was like, if I could just get my bullets and unload.
He hated them.
Yeah. Because it was just so unnatural that something was not being governed and they just live out here. So it was an interesting
Red flag.
take. It was an interesting take.
Yeah.
So there's this one point where at a pub, when Lucy Gray is performing, she's singing a song about how much she loves this man, Snow. And he's like, oh yeah, Snow lands on top. It's all about me. He's pointing at himself. He has a little flashlight. He's pointing at him. Everyone look over here. This is who it's about. But
He
then,
like moves her from the spotlight. He's standing there
he
instead.
starts singing. So then he sees Sejanus leaves, and he leaves mid-song just to find that Sejanus is talking to this Billy Taupe and another dude named Spruce, and the mayor's daughter is also there, Mayfair.
Mayfair, yeah.
So, and that's the girl who Lucy Gray put a snake down her dress.
Yeah.
And so then,
Because there's like this whole love triangle between Lucy, Mayfair, and Billy, but
whatever. And
it's over now. Lucy's with Snow.
Lucy also comes in. So then they're all standing here, and Mayfair's like, oh my God, I'm just gonna tell on you guys. Like, you guys are crazy. It's crazy that Lucy's here. It's like, these peacemakers, I'm gonna tell on you guys, on my dad, whatever. And so then as she starts leaving,
Snow kills her.
very brutally
Yeah.
shoots her. And then
I thought it was interesting how Lucy took this as oh, you saved me. Which, I mean, I guess he did, but dang.
yeah. And then Billy Taupe, I think, tries to attack, and that's when Sejanus kills him as well. And it's funny. Sejanus was like, I can't let Corio go on his own. I'm just gonna commit a crime too.
Yeah.
He could have just let it go. Crazy. And then, like always, Sejanus is like, I'm so sorry, Corio. I should have listened to you. Should have listened to you in my heart.
Throughout the whole book, I felt like
was
Sejanus
always apologizing.
was always apologizing to Snow and always telling him like, oh, I just bring you into these situations. You're always saving me.
Yep. And so then Snow thinks quick and is like, okay, Lucy, you need to go back and sing because then that's your alibi. And then Sejanus, we need to go in there and we gotta do what we do best, which is party.
Yeah.
Like bros. And
Yeah.
he's like, okay. But time passes and Sejanus ends up being tried for rebel sympathizing and is hung. And it really sucks because as he's hung, I think he screams out his mom.
He just screams out, "Ma."
And that's what the mockingjays repeat. Corio is like, they're gonna find out I helped him. They're going to. I know it. He's spiraling. He's like, I need to do something about this. And so Lucy Gray is feeling the same way because the mayor is like very sure that she has something to do with this. So both Lucy Gray and Snow come up with the idea of running away together.
Yes, but at the same time, Snow had done some exam. I don't remember what it was, but he passed with flying colors. Everyone
Snow's on
was
top.
just so impressed by his intelligence.
Yeah.
And so somebody goes up to him and is like, hey, actually, you're being promoted. Meet me here tomorrow at 11 and you're going to go to District 2.
And that was it. Like, he literally had everything in his pockets ready to leave. And he just got this, like, news. And from what I remember in the book, he took it really well. He was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, Snow's back on top. I'm going to do
Yeah,
great.
But then he ends up leaving with Lucy,
Yes.
which I was really confused by, but
So they didn't get far. They didn't get far. They got to like the place where they went fishing, and I thought it was so funny that literally my thoughts, they've been walking for 3 hours because I know that this place was like 3 hours away. Whatever. He's like, it's hot. My
Dude.
feet. I'm hungry.
we're literally on the same wavelength. I was laughing because he was just like, oh my God, I can't handle these bugs. And how is Lucy so like calm right now
And
with
it was
this
like
heat?
raining, and I just did my hair. And she told me I have to fish. Do I have to do this every day?
Oh yeah, it was raining, huh?
Yeah. And so he's
forgot.
really just like, I hate this.
Why are there so
hate
many
this.
bugs on him?
Right? Oh my God, they're obsessed with me.
But Snow messed up because while they're walking towards this house, he makes it's different from the movie and the book. I feel like I'm remembering the movie line better, but in the
Yes.
book, he basically says like, oh, now that my life is going to be different, 3 people dead. That's crazy. Luckily, it won't be more than that.
Yes.
So he's insinuating that he killed 3 people. And she kind of like pauses for a bit. And this is the moment when he gets a splinter and he's like, ow!
Help
Help
the
me,
floor.
Lucy. And she's helping him with the splinter. And she's just like, wait, what do you mean you killed 3 people? Well, I know about Bobbin and I know about Mayfair. Who's the 3rd? And he's like, well, babe, I had to kill the old Snow.
Yeah. Just like Slim Shady.
Yeah. And I'm blonde.
It kind of works out. Who's Slim Shady? Don't worry about it, babe. No. But I thought it was interesting because like you could feel the shift immediately. And it was brought up earlier in the book that the most important thing to
Lucy is trust.
more than love. And even Snow picks up like after that there's tension between us. So then here's where I'm confused.
Okay.
So they get to the cabin and they're about to go fishing, and he realizes that the bag with all of the weapons that would incriminate him is in there. And he's like, why is this here? And so then Lucy's like, oh, maybe Spruce, the one who was in charge of hiding the weapons, knew about this place. Weird, because earlier she had mentioned only the Coveys knew about this place. It's like, yeah, maybe he just brought him here. Who knows? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna grab a big knife and I'm gonna go get some Katniss. Even though earlier I said it wasn't ready. 2 weeks is a lot of time though, so it's probably ready now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, even though it's raining too. And I'm gonna go alone. Don't follow me. I'm gonna go alone. Okay, bye.
Yeah. But he let her leave because he wanted alone time anyway.
Okay. So here's my question. Why was that bag there? Was that coincidental?
I took it as this is just where they were going to hide the weapons.
So she had nothing to
Because
do with
it was
that.
under the floorboards. It's not like it was just out there.
Yeah. But she had nothing to do with that?
I don't know.
Because that's where I'm confused. Because it feels to me, everything was fine. It wasn't like she had known that he had killed 3 people beforehand.
So then I don't think she had anything to do with it.
So, but do you think she felt the shift? Because her leaving to go cut the Katniss?
She definitely felt the shift when he told her that he killed 3 people.
Yeah.
Because she had already said, trust is the most important thing for me. And once you break it, Bye.
So do you feel like at that point when they had that conversation, she was already choosing, like, I'm not going to stay with this
yeah,
guy?
I'm leaving. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so she goes to get Katniss, doesn't come back in a very long time, and
He goes out to look for her.
it's crazy sounding because he's literally running around with a gun, the gun that he used to kill Mayfair, and was like, Lucy Gray, stop hiding from me. And he's just running around in the rain. And I'm like, bitch, you're crazy. Like, you need to stop. This is crazy. What if she just actually went to get Katniss?
What if she was in trouble or something?
She built a little fort for them and made him food. Like, oh, sorry, babe. I just wanted this to be a surprise. And honestly, that's what I thought was going to happen. I thought she was literally just going to be doing her own thing.
Like housewife things. Like, I made this whole feast for you, babe.
It's weird. I built a house because, okay, whatever, I guess.
Because you know what? We're going to live here now.
I know. So he's running, looking for her, and starts to hear her singing the Hanging Tree song. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Lucy Gray.
And the Mockingjays are singing with her.
Oh, my God.
And so now he's pissed.
Yeah, he is.
He's like, not the Mockingjays.
And I think he shoots randomly, like, in front of him. And I think the singing stops. But I don't remember if he goes to check. I think he literally just leaves.
No, he finds the scarf.
Oh, yeah.
Because then he moves the scarf and there's a snake there that bites him. And he's like, oh my God, I'm dying.
Oh, and he starts hallucinating.
Yeah,
hallucinating.
He's like, I'm dying.
Oh, my God. It's like a garden snake.
Yeah.
That's what
Girl, I would be the exact same. He gets bit and then he just ends up leaving. He goes to, which by the way, actually before he even went out of the house, he was thinking, oh, these weapons, this is like the last loose end, right?
Yeah.
But then he thinks, oh no, my last loose end would be Lucy.
Yeah.
Because she knows. But she wouldn't tell anyone. And then so that's
where the spiral
That's
starts.
when he starts spiraling. He goes and then he goes back to the district. He gets medic involved. He gets healed.
And it's funny because I think he brings up like, oh, it's going to leave a mark, but it's good to remind me to never be in dangerous situations like that again. Mm-hmm. And the medic's like, it wasn't poisonous.
Yeah.
It was just like a bite.
Yeah. It showed that it didn't have fangs.
Yes. Oh my God, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. So, he leaves this district. And I think there's a point that's brought up. Like, I don't know if it was with the fight with Lucy Gray, that point or after. But he talks about like how he's humming. I think it's when he's in the train. He's humming the Hanging Tree song. And he realizes that he connects with the person in the story. Right? Oh, wait, no, that's what made Lucy Gray suspicious. They were talking about the Hanging Tree song, and that's when he was like, yeah, I connect with the song because, 3. Hanging 3, killing 3. Whatever. So he's in the train going to District 2 and wakes up, and he's at the Capitol. And he's like, oh, my God, I slept in, whatever. And they're like, no, actually, you were requested to be at the Capitol.
By Dr. Gaul.
And when he goes in, Dr. Gaul is like, I hope your summer school went really well, because we were only going to keep you there over the summer.
Yeah, you're too smart for you to not be in the university.
I want you to work under me, and it will be completely paid for, because you got the Plinth Award. And just like, congratulations, Mr. Snow. And I feel like by this point of the book, he doesn't seem to have emotion.
Yeah.
Because it feels very much like, okay, he now has the money. Epilogue. He is going to visit Highbottom, Dean Highbottom. And we get the biggest reveal that Dean Highbottom and his dad, Snow's dad, one drunken night for an assignment where they had to create the worst possible way you can torture someone who has wronged you.
Like a punishment.
Yes.
For the rebels.
Came up with the Hunger Games. It was like a joke.
Yeah.
And the next day when Highbottom woke up, figured out that Snow's dad had turned in
the assignment
with his name on it as well.
He was upset because he didn't actually want that to happen.
Yes. And so
that's why he hates Snow.
Yes.
Because his dad. But they were besties
But-
at one point.
Does this reveal then that Highbottom wasn't as bad as we thought he was?
I think so, but
He's not great.
he's not great, but I guess he's not the worst.
Yeah, because he really didn't want this outcome. And he was hoping that by the 10th year, the games would die down. But because of Snow's
Brilliant idea of
Yeah.
gambling.
now
Or
it's going to
betting
go
on
on.
them, I mean.
Now it's going to go on for a long time. So then while he's saying this, Snow's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. So here's all of Sejanus' stuff. And he like dumps it. And he's like, and I'm going to keep this picture to give to his family. I'm pretty sure you don't want to be seen as the person who gave a diploma to a rebel sympathizer. But, you know, you do you. And throughout the things that he gave him is like a bottle of Morphling. And because Highbottom has an addiction, he drinks it, not knowing that Snow had put rat poison in it. So as he's walking out, you can hear the dean like going through it. And Snow's last thought is like,
Snow lands on top.
Snow lands on top. Credit roll.
Yeah.
The end. He is asked by Highbottom in that conversation, like, how was it when you left? Was she sad? And he was like, yeah, we were both probably sad. But then he thinks, like, I never want to talk about Lucy Gray with him.
He also thinks that he's never going to fall in love again. He never wants to give anyone that leverage over him. He's like, love is a sign of weakness. Therefore, when I get married, there will be no love between us. And you know what? I think I'm going to marry that girl over there because
We would just look so good.
as a first lady, she would do so good.
That's crazy. There was a line we didn't bring up that I really, 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 really liked. Where Dr. Gaul was like, you guys don't understand it. You don't understand what the Hunger Games are. It's not just about killing, you know? It's when humanity is undressed. And it didn't really make sense to Snow at this point of the book, like which was the halfway point. But then when he kills Bobbin and when he kills Mayfair, it's brought up again. That was a moment of humanity undressed. Because it just goes to show that the kindest people will resort to violence in those moments, which is where it's brought up, like, are people born inherently good or inherently evil?
Yeah.
Which Snow is he feels like, yeah, they're evil. All people are evil.
Yeah, and then he even had that discussion with Lucy Gray because he was like, ugh, well, I'm just happy not to be around people anymore because people suck.
Yeah.
But she says that no, people are inherently good. It's just that sometimes they're pushed into making decisions that
Yep.
aren't that great.
Yeah. And I think there's a moment where she brings up, like, I'm a murderer. And he's like, no, you aren't. And she's like, no, I am. Like, you can't just deny that. At the very end, too, when he talks to Dr. Gaul, Snow is asked again, like, why do you think we do this? Why do you think the Hunger Games happen? And he answers that it's a way to remind people, like, it's a way to continue the war. It's an eternal war that will continue on.
Yeah.
And it's to show who has the power. And then when she asks, I think in the book she asks who has the power, he's like, me. Me, this guy right here, Coriolanus Snow. The end.
I don't remember that part specifically.
No.
Him saying me, I don't remember that.
Maybe that only happened in the movie. But I do remember that they have that conversation where the never-ending war continues.
Yeah.
I think that's where it stops.
But then he also mentioned that the war is also in the capital.
Yes.
It's not just with in the districts, it's also in the capital. And then how did you feel about that line? I think it was Dean Highbottom, who was like, you hear that? Sound of snow falling. How did you feel about that line?
I bet he was very proud of it. I bet he sat. Snow wasn't there, and he was like, "Oh, when I see snow again,
You know
when
what?
I see snow
Okay,
again." What was the context of that?
I don't want to be like overthinking it, but I feel like this was like Snow working up his way up to the ranks, right?
Yes.
Finally being seen as someone important because of Lucy, not because of him. And I took this as him saying, sound of snow falling. You're not at the top yet, but you're going to fall. Like, that's how I took it. Like, oh, he knows that this man is going to lose one day.
I love that.
Hopefully.
I love that.
That's how I see it anyway.
The dean was like, ooh,
Got
1-0,
him.
1-0 Highbottom. It's crazy to me because when I finish this book, it makes me feel icky. Mostly with like the things currently happening in this world.
Yes.
Where the government very much feels like they can control people however they want. And this idea of calling it humanity undressed makes it worse because it's like, wow, it's just so raw and so real. And
it's like trying to make it poetic.
yes, and it's like, no, it is dehumanizing.
Yeah.
There is nothing humane about this. It's not poetic. It's not art. It's literally the government or whoever is in control doing this because they can. That's what it is. And the fact that they're making it something super artistic when it was literally just a classroom assignment.
Yeah, that's
You
what's
know?
crazy. And even the students were like, I think it was Clemensia, who was like, oh, do you think that they'll actually take our ideas?
Yeah.
Like, why are you taking these people's ideas?
From basically children. And you're making it the way you guys rule.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. So it's an interesting that was an interesting quote to connect to it because it very much feels like what's happening right now.
Yeah, I agree.
So-
And I felt like we're doing this Hunger Games marathon, and then I feel like stuff is happening in our world where it's like, oh my God, it's kind of mirroring it a little bit.
And I do want to say too, like, we joked a lot throughout this month.
We did.
We've had a long month of Hunger Games.
But you know what's funny? Cheli and I finished this. Okay, I'm going to be honest. We finished this like a month ago.
Yeah, we did.
So think about that. Think about the fact that we were joking a month ago, and then now everything that's happening today. And I had told Cheli, I feel like an asshole because we should be connecting it to what's happening.
But yes, you did say that because I think we had brought up that we were actually thinking of filming something to put in the front of our Mockingjay episode.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
But to connect what you're saying, we did make a lot of jokes at the beginning. And we joked about Katniss and like Peeta like taking off his prosthetic leg and like backward stroke. We said a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
I forgot about that.
But I want people to realize that like these books it's not a romance.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
It's not. And although that there is romance aspects in it, the most important takeaway is like what governments are willing to do to stay in power and how much power one person can have.
Yes.
Because that's really big. And it sucks what Snow becomes and how long it goes on sucks. But you can say similarly, the way that Katniss had a lot of power as a figurehead, so did Snow. Like, it's the same thing. It's just what you're willing to do with it. And
there was
Yeah.
even a moment when he knew that people were going to hate him. But in his mind, he was like, oh, but it's worth it as long as we stay in power. And it's all about survival. So it's like he's not ignorant. Like, he knows the pain that he's going to be causing.
sitting with this book, I'm kind of curious how you and I would have reacted if we had read this pre-podcast while all the Snow edits were coming out.
I don't think he's hot though. Like, even like in the book, you know? Like the way that he's described, I'm like, this man's pathetic.
Yeah.
He's a coward.
So why were people thirsty? I thought this was going to be totally like, oh my gosh, I feel for him. But even then, like,
I could feel bad for him because he didn't grow up in the best way, but like, come on, compare him to Tigris. She stayed a good person.
yes.
Also, his dad was killed by a rebel in the forest of District 12. Isn't that kind of crazy? Because that's where he lost the love of his life. He might as well have died too.
And when he lost Lucy Gray as well. Because he lost Sejanus.
Oh, can you stop?
I feel so bad for Sejanus. I feel like
He hated him.
He hated him. But in a weird way. Like, it just felt... Well, it very much felt like he just started to constantly talk about Sejanus so that he can get money off of these people. Mm-hmm. Crazy. Whatever.
And then the fact that Sejanus' family gives him money because they're like, well, our son died and you tried your best with him. You always saved him. So here's some money. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, if they only knew.
If they knew.
That's sad.
I think that this is a weird story to end on, as it's like the beginning of the Hunger Games. But like you said, it very much parallels what's happening in the world right now.
Yeah. And we should be specific. Well, I mean, now there's more happening, but like,
yeah,
we had wanted to talk about the ICE raids because we've already told them we live in California.
Yeah. And we live in an area where there is a lot of diverse population. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it's very much like a place that is going to be affected by ICE raids and have been affected by ICE raids. Have been affected
and will be continuously affected. I just keep getting notifications of like, I spotted in this city or in this, you know what I mean? In different counties. And I'm just like, my God, like.
And it's scary too because we're in a very big like DACA hub. Like there's a lot of dreamers here.
Yeah.
So everyone is scared. And
it's just heartbreaking. Like when you notice like a shift, like let's say we go to like a grocery store and you can tell like, oh, there's a lot of people who aren't here.
And you know what else I heard recently from a friend? That if you go to our local flea market, it's not packed anymore. And it's like, just because someone has the power to do something to take people away, all of a sudden they're doing this, not realizing like the communities you're breaking. Like there are people whose livelihood is working at the flea market and now they can't even do that.
And I don't understand like why certain people love to hate these people who don't even do anything.
Yep.
Like we're Mexican.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh my gosh. Lore drop.
And you know, well, I don't know about your parents, but my parents came when they were teenagers. They were like 18-ish, 18, 19-ish. My parents were here for a long time, literally just working, you know, like doing their best to like give us, their kids, a better life. And my mom couldn't even apply for a citizenship until like, I think like 5 years or 10 years. It was a long time. Yep. Because I remember when she finally got it, she was like, oh my God, this took me like 10 years, 11, like I don't remember, 11, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I saw how much she struggled. You know, people want to be citizens, but it's not like an easy process. No. And what pisses me off even more is that there are people who are trying to do this the legal way, but then that's when they get dragged away by ICE. It's like at their court hearings. Mm-hmm. It's not about you wanting them to do it the right way. You just don't want them here. Yep.
And it literally just feels like a power move.
Yeah.
Like you're doing this because you can. What do you gain out of it?
Yeah. And I feel like it's never going to end though. Like let's say hypothetically speaking, like you get all of the illegal immigrants out of here. There's going to be a next person that is going to be targeted.
Well, and I feel like it's cyclical because didn't this happen before? Like, didn't this happen when we were way younger? And then more people started to come up because there were jobs that weren't being taken. Mm-hmm. This is literally just repeating itself for no reason. And I think it's really funny that our president had a birthday party.
That nobody was there.
A birthday bash. That no one came while Lizzo echoed in the distance. And then there's like a recording of him saying like, it's just, you know, there are some leaders that, you hear him say it? It was like, there are some leaders that as soon as they talk, their people turn. But like, you know, my people don't do that. And it's like, yeah, think why? Like, think why? It's crazy because now there's like so much. I feel like right now at this moment, we're very like Democratic leaning because of just how how much he's not showing up for his people. It's crazy.
I agree with you. It does feel that way, but I also feel the other side's like hatred.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I feel like I've seen so many videos of Republicans saying like, "Oh, I'm not like I'm happy about this." Like, you know, seeing all of these videos of families being torn apart and them saying like, "Oh, no, this is what needed to happen." And it's like, why are you so comfortable saying that? Like, you don't see us as human beings.
But
And-
it's very much like it will not get through these people's minds because they're so far removed from it. Like if it's horrible, it won't hit them because it's not affecting them. It is affecting us.
Yeah.
And that's why we're able to see that. And there are people who just have so much empathy that are like, yeah, this is horrible that this is going on. But some people just don't have that. Or they choose not to question why it's bad. And it's like, okay, it needs to happen. Well, you know, he's in charge. And it's like, no.
Or it's like they're stealing our jobs, but it's like you're not out there in the fields. Like you're not out there, you know, in the places because the ice raids are happening in their work, you know, like in construction. I've seen so many videos. You're not trying to do those jobs. So
Yeah. It's a lot.
yeah, it is a lot. But
I do think about how when these books came out and the trilogy finished and the Mockingjay movie came out, part 1 and part 2, after part 2 was done, there were a lot of, I think it was like third world country type areas that had started to riot against their like leaders.
yeah.
And it's just like, it just goes to show that there is like a lot of power in people if people are willing to. But it is
Yeah.
really scary because you're sacrificing so much of yourself, you know, to be part of this.
Well, you're putting yourself in danger.
Danger.
And I admire people who are like in the front lines, you know what I mean? Like in the protests.
Yep. It was, I went to a book club like 2 weeks ago, and that was when, well, it's going to date when we're releasing this. So when the birthday bash happened, there was also the No Kings Parade that was happening in our town.
Yeah.
And one of the people that goes to the book club, she's an elderly white woman. And she came and she was like, I was driving over here and I just ended up being part of the parade. Like I ended up in it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what were your thoughts on it? And she's like, it was really nice. Like, it was really nice being there and being a part of it. I just hope, like, you know, my old Honda didn't look too bad in there. And I was like, no, it's
Aw.
nice that you were nice about it, too.
Yeah.
Because apparently she rolled down her window and she was like, what's going on?
She's like, what did I miss?
No, but it's just, there was a lot of sense of community when it happened here,
Yes.
which is a little shocking.
I mean, that's a rarity. So
Yeah. I've been feeling it more and more, though, as we're getting older, the sense of community of where we live. So,
Yeah, I feel it too, but it just worries me because this is just the beginning.
Yeah, 7
Like,
months. in.
Yeah, we're not even a year in, and so many families are being torn apart. Like, I don't know. And then also, I don't know exactly what's happening with Iran.
It's a lot. And that's like a conversation for another time because I'm not as knowledgeable on it.
Yeah.
All I know is that as people, we have power to do things, but it's just,
Yeah.
now it's just seeing what we can do.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. What a heavy topic. And we're not even done. We
No,
still have
we're not.
we still have the movie to talk about.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What do you give the book?
I give this book a 5 out of 5. I feel like it was so well written. I saw a post recently where someone was like, oh yeah, I used to like Suzanne Collins, but I feel like I'm just too old to like resonate with her books now.
What?
And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. 5 out of 5. This
That's
is so
crazy.
well done. I feel like this book needs to be read by many. I do think I saw somewhere where someone said that books help lessen the empathy gap, and I think that's very true with this book. I
Yeah.
think it should be consumed and really torn apart. 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
So good.
I agree. I would also give it a 5 out of 5. And I don't understand how people can read this and like no thirst over snow. I don't get it.
We'll talk more about that in the next episode.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but
Empathize with him.
yeah, I empathize with him.
I think people tend to forget that horrible people can have good moments. Like in their life, they probably did things that were good. They're still horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
at the end of the day, he's a horrible man.
What someone is capable of and what someone does defines them.
Mm-hmm.
So if they did something and they're trying to go back and fix their wrongs, that means something.
Yeah.
But if they're not willing to fix it, then that means something too.
Yeah, I agree.
Coriolanus seemed like a very fitting name for this.
Coriolanus? that was the perfect name.
That being said, if you are listening to us in audio form, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or wherever you get your podcasts on, thank you so much. If you could leave a rating of 5 stars and a review on your thoughts on this book, that would be amazing. We are done with our Hunger Games read. How do you feel now that we're
I
at
feel
the end?
sad. Oh,
Yeah.
I feel really sad. I feel bummed, but I'm really glad that we did this.
Yeah, me too. We were kind of hesitant. Mm-hmm. I'm really glad we did this too.
Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for an extra way to support us just a little bit more, we do have a Patreon, which you can find at patreon.com/bookfix. But if you're not looking for something that's monthly, we do also have a buymeacoffee.com/thebookfix or coffee, which is ko-fi.com/thebookfix.
If you want to support us on social media or follow our book clubs on Fable and Goodreads, you could find everything on our link tree, linktr.ee/thebookfix. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, now I'm just perpetually
Perpetually.
in a bad mood.
Why?
Oh, it's just,
I get
just
it.
have so much to say.
I get it. There's a lot happening, a lot of
Yeah.
feelings. Snow's still a bitch.
Oh, Snow is still a bitch.
Always will be a bitch. Can I just say though, I love Lucy Gray. Oh, I forgot to ask you
How I feel about her?
How do you feel about Lucy Gray?
I do like her. I do like her. I feel sort of weird because everything is so open-ended with her, but it's supposed to be like that.
She's a mystery.
Yeah, but I do really like her.
And then also we forgot to say that at the end she got deleted basically. Like they deleted all of her records. Mm-hmm. And so that's why people don't really know much about her.
And that's mentioned in the other books. Like, oh yeah, I know someone won from 12. I just don't know who it was.
We just don't know much about her.
Oh my gosh.
But she was the start of the movement. Love that queen.
Oh my gosh. The fact that, we'll talk about it in the other one. She has so many similarities to Katniss. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh.
And Peeta.
And Peeta. We'll talk about it later.